it's Michael from Culture Talk and Tours, and I'm here today in Taipei City, Taiwan. I'm here at the Mexican Trade Office for Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead celebration. I'm here with the wife, Selena, of the director here of the Trade Center. Now, we are going to have some kind of information about Day of the Dead.
Okay.
Yes. And then we've got the altar behind us, and we're going to have some Mexican food. And un poco de música, I think, too.
I don't know music, but they are going to have some information about the Dia de los Muertos celebration.
The celebration. And then hopefully we will talk to the artist that made this beautiful altar as well.
We were waiting for the artist who made all this and all the helpers.
And all the helpers.
Yes.
So last year we were in Taichung.
Oh, yes,
Yes.
last year was at Taiwan.
And now this year we're here back in Taipei City. And Miss Selena is dressed for the occasion. And I've got a little bit of my skull going on. So let's check out the event.
Mexicana aquí, friends from the media, and friends. That's the most important part. This is, for me, a very special occasion because les pido disculpas a nuestros amigos mexicanos que vamos a hablar en inglés, pero pues sí nos entendemos todos y no tenemos ningún problema de alguna que otra cosa en español también. But I think it's easier if I speak English, even if this is the house of Mexico. But unfortunately, for better or for worse, English is the universal language. So I will use English so that I guess everybody will be able to understand. I was saying that this is a very special occasion for me because I arrived 8 years ago in the summer, and it's been a tradition ever since before I came, to have this exhibition in our office. My predecessors have been doing it for years, and I continue to do it. And in 2018, for the first time, I decided that we had to take it out of these walls as well. So for the first time ever, we put it out, and it was the National Central Library. It was a very, very successful exhibition. 2 years later, we did it just across the street at Taipei City Hall. And we added a very, very meaningful ingredient because we had a very beautiful parade walking from the entrance of this building over to the entrance of the City Hall. And there was a lot of guests participating, and Mayor Call was there, and the Vice Mayor walked with us from here to there. Then COVID hit, and we had to stop it for a couple of years. And then we did another one very big in Takashimaya Shopping Center. And this is like the coming back and wrapping up for me. Because as you might know, this is my last year here. Not because I want to, but because there's no time that doesn't have an end period. And in my case, it's because I'm reaching the age of retirement, so I have no other option. I have to leave not only my post, but my diplomatic career, and I'm happy to finish it here. So we thought that it would be worth doing it here again, and it is also very important to point out that every year we've had not the help, but the guidance and the creativity and the effort and the energy of volunteers from the Mexican community, especially two very close to our hearts, my wife Selena and I, members of the Mexican community. One of them is here, I think Rodolfo. Her husband has not arrived, but Lani is another, and the most important, because she's always been the one creating. Lani is from Michoacan. The tradition of the Day of the Dead is a very Mexican tradition, but it's like many other traditions, it has very different levels of closeness and of observation. I'm a Mexico City boy, so for me, Day of the Dead is like to most of you. It's a social event. It's a sociological event. It's a folkloric thing. But for Lani and her family, it's a family affair. They would set up, I don't know where Lani is. Okay, that's Lani right there. Please give her a big round of applause. For Lani, this is a family tradition. She comes from a place in Mexico where, if you, probably wouldn't be mistaken if most of you, 90% of you, probably have watched the movie Coco. It's a Disney movie that really is based totally upon this tradition. And Coco was inspired and it copies certain, not only the traditions, but also the villages themselves from the state of Michoacan, from where Lani is. And it's actually, if you remember, there are walls painted in two different colors. Well, that's how they actually have those walls painted in that village, in those villages. So cocoa is really, the people that produced it came over and got inspired and learned from those cities and villages in the state of Michoacán where Lenny is from. So, and she says that for them, just like for most of us kids, when we were waiting for Santa Claus to come, we were very, very excited because he was going to come and leave us presents. Well, for them, the excitement was because Grandpa and Grandma were going to come to visit the family. So this is a very authentic creation, and every year it has been different. As you can attest to that, friends that have been to several of our exhibitions. So this one is special also, not only because this is for me the last one, but because it has a different twist. We usually dedicate the altar, we call it altar de Dia de los Muertos, to a famous Mexican national who passed away during the year that we set it up. And quite honestly, even though there have been certainly, of course, famous Mexicans that have passed away, none was as important for us as to having, to being worth of being at the altar this year. So we thought about who could be very, very representative, and that's why we decided to pick Jane Goodall. And I will do a very brief presentation here, and I will try to link her and her work to the tradition. I don't want to make this very long, but I do want to say, first of all, para los mexicanos que están aquí, pues eso no es ninguna sorpresa, but for those that might not be that familiar, there is no Mexican tradition more authentic and more vivid that reflects what Mexico is today and where we come from than the tradition of the Day of the Dead. And it is a result of a combination of pre-Columbian traditions and Spanish traditions. When the Spanish came in the 16th century, the early 16th century, and conquered Mexico, they were the heroes of Catholicism. So they came, and not only did they conquer the land and took our gold, but also they came with a new religion for the Americas, and that was the Catholic religion. But before that, centuries before that, we had pre-Columbian beliefs. And especially, as you know, when they came, they met what was the most powerful civilization at that moment, and they had been only there for 200 years, the Aztecs or Mexicas. And the Mexicas also inherited from other influences of pre-Columbian traditions, had also a very deep-rooted relation with the afterlife. So what we have here is the result of syncretism, of a mixture of the European and the Catholic with the pre-Columbian. And that gives rise to a new, not only religion, but cosmovision, and even this ethnicity, because the Spanish and the local civilizations of the Americans, they mixed, as opposed to what happened to the United States, where they basically exterminated them. But I want to stress a little bit in this very brief presentation to showcase to you what it meant for the pre-Columbian, and especially for the Mexicas, for the Aztecs, the afterworld. So the main thing is that both the Catholics, the Europeans in their tradition, as well as the pre-Columbian and the Aztecs specifically, believed in the life after life, or life after death, if you want to see it that way. The difference is that, as you know, Catholicism, you would be go into another life depending on how you had behaved during your lifetime. Did you behave well? Did you keep certain standards according to the Catholic rules? And you would go to heaven and enjoy God. You were not that good, but you were that bad, you would go to purgatory and spend some time before you could go to heaven. And if you've been very, very bad, you go to hell, that's it. Okay? So that your afterlife would depend on how you behaved during your lifetime. In the case of the Mexicas, was not like that. The Mexicas believed that depending on how you died, you would go to have another life. And the most, the most common cause of death was anything but what I will point out later. So if you had died other than in war or giving birth or being a baby or related to some sort of water-related things, you would go to Mictlán. And in Mictlán, you would be starting a very long journey. So some of the symbols that you'll see in the altar have to do with that, because that long journey would have to be assisted as much as possible by the living. And so they would go through 4 years of journey and would have to go through 9 levels of challenges. The very first one, crossing a river, the river of Chicohuapan. And for that, the Aztecs had a dog, the Xoloscuintle. It's actually represented in the altar as well, if you have time to take a look at it. But it's a very famous dog with no hair. So that dog was a sacred dog. And he was owned originally by by the brother of the most important deity of the Aztecs, and the Mayans for that matter, which is Quetzalcoatl. So if you were good to them, if you had been good to them, if you treated those dogs okay, the dog would help you to cross the river. And once you had that, you would have to go through 4 years of journey, okay? Why 4? For us, and for the Aztecs, as opposed to you, the 4 is bad, right? Mm-hmm. For us, it's quite opposite. And why 4? Because there were 4 cardinal points of the universe: east, west, north, south. Because there are 4 elements: earth, wind, and fire, and water. And because we are living in the 5th sun. So prior to that, there had been 4 suns in the cosmogony of the Aztecs. So the travel would be 4 years going through many different challenges. The first one being, as I mentioned, the river, but then you would have to face arrows thrown at you, troubled waters, obsidian mountains that would cut you off. All those was part of the process of being purified on your way back to regenerating the energy with the world. So with Jane, there is a similarity there, because for her, the relationship with the environment, the relationship with the animals, is and was very, very important. And in our case, it was part of the universe. You cannot separate from that. So there's a very, very important linkage there that we'd like to point out. The next one, please. So there were, like I said, different levels, what I just mentioned, of the Mictlán, and each was like a challenge, a proof that you had to go through. And here I was mentioning the Xolosínclotl. That's the dog, and this is the soul that he's helping to go through the very first challenge, which is the river. Okay? That was for most of the people that would pass away regularly. They would have to go to the Mictlán for those 4 years and go through the 9 challenges. Next one. Now, there was another place where the people that died would go to, and that's the Tonatiuh. The people that, the warriors that died in battle, and very important, also the women that died giving birth, and they would also spend 4 years, but not facing challenges. They would join the sun in its daily journey. And after those 4 years, the warriors would get transformed into birds and women into butterflies. And they would join again into the energy and the unified existence of the universe. If you died in anything had to be related to rain, not only being, if you drowned, but if you were hit by lightning, or anything even if you had an inner problem that had to do with your own, natural liquids, then you would go to Tlatelolco. I'm sorry, my Nahuatl pronunciation is not very good. But anyway, it's the kingdom of Tlaloc, which is the god of the rain. And they would also be actually, once they got there, they had no journey at all. It was, I don't want to use the word paradise because I don't want to compare it to the Catholic concept of paradise, but this is what it is. You would be eternally thrown into life because, rain, water brings life. So it's this abundance, fertility, and so on and so forth, and renewal. That's another concept of the Tlacoan in this case. Next one is the people, the babies that were still being breastfed. If they died still being breastfed, they would go to Chichicuatlutl. Chichi, ¿saben lo que quiere decir chichi, no? Chichi in Nahuatl, that's where it comes from, means milk. So this is the reason why, we in Mexicans call the breasts chichis, because they comes from milk. And so the babies that died, before having been able to try actual food, corn or whatever, they would go to this place. And the meaning of the place is the tree that gives milk. And the children would be there waiting to be the new humanity after this sun, the 5th sun, would disappear. So these babies are the future of humanity. And they're also just waiting there to be part of the new universe when time comes. Next, please. So, just to wrap it up, because like I said, I don't want to bore you or anything like that, but I thought it would be interesting to point out some of these issues that not everybody knows, and that explain why we have this tradition. The Day of the Dead then is reflected as part of all these concepts. And some of the symbols, or many of the symbols that we use today in the altar are related to those Colombian traditions. The incense that they would use, the flowers that they would use, so these bright flowers, cempasúchil, because that would also be the way the living would help out the deceased to go through their journey. When the Spanish came, they exchanged the type of fire they would use and substituted it with the candles. But the main thing is that there is a continuous renewal. That is why the concept of death and the concept of your time of the deceased is so different from yours and ours. Because for you, it's a scary thing. For us, it's a natural course of the continuous movement of the universe. And there's nothing wrong about it. Of course, they would die. You know, when people died in the Aztec families, of course they would be sad. But they had different rituals related to these concepts of the continuous cosmogony being a life and a constant movement. And I'll just wrap it up by saying that, again, when the Spanish came, they faced these traditions, and they had their own goal of converting the people that they had conquered. They needed to conquer their souls as well. So they tried as hard as they could to impose the Catholic beliefs and the Catholic traditions upon the pre-Columbian ones. So what you had, it was not only a physical substitution, because actually the churches that were built in Mexico were built upon the pyramids and the places of worship that the Aztecs and other cultures had. So it was not only a physical imposition, but also a ideological imposition. And they did not fully succeed. It is a syncretism where we live today. It's a mixture of both. It's not totally Catholic, and it's not certainly totally pre-Columbian. It gave rise to a new thing. And the most important thing is that our cultures, and I say in plural, cultures, because we had many different ones along the 3,000 years of history in Mexico. They were used to meeting the other and learning from the other and absorbing from the other and recreating something new. So when the Spanish came and brought the Baroque, that was, the trendy architecture in Europe, we learned from their Baroque, absorbed it, and transformed it into our own Baroque, the Churrigueresco. And that has been a permanent, vivid phenomenon that lasts even to this day. That is why I was saying, and I started by saying that, and I will conclude by saying this again, that this is a vivid tradition. It's a constant renewal of new things that are incorporated to what it is actually a century-old custom. So by the time the Spanish come, and they impose it, not only do they impose it, the locals absorb it and make it their own. And the reason why we have the Katrina is because there was a early 20th century artist and late 19th century artist that was using a lot of the skulls and the skeletons to make fun of the rich of the time. And ever since then, that's part of our tradition. And today, there is a parade in Mexico City that gathers about 1 million people. That started only in 2015, after a James Bond movie. And a lot of people criticize that and say, oh, how can Hollywood come and impose on us? They did not. Again, it's not an imposition. It's the other way around. The James Bond producers thought it was an interesting thing to showcase to start a James Bond movie. And now we got it, turn it around, and now it's a Mexico City tradition. And it will continue to be like that. So, again, if you want to take a look to an expression, a culture, a popular, a belief that showcases where we come from, this is it. And it will continue to be so for the next, we will be here. And our successors will continue to have new expressions of Day of the Dead. I just want to finish by saying that we are very, very grateful to Lani, to Rodolfo, to Miriam, to the staff that participated in the decoration of all of this. Certainly to Selena, my wife. These images, for example, that you see here, were used in that parade that we had 5 years ago, and they continue to be part of our decoration. So this has been also a mounting effort. Many of the things that you see here, we just came back from Mexico and we brought new stuff, and others have been there for years, and others, other were done by some of our own people. So this is also something that showcases where our heart is put, and so we are very, very grateful that you guys have come and join us to enjoy this. And I hope that after this, what I wanted to be brief, but it turned out as usual to be a long explanation, will give you a better understanding and more elements for you to appreciate what you will see here. So it's nothing that you see here is artificial. All this is very, very deep. These papel picado also, it's a long tradition as well. So it's a combination, and so that's why we've always thought that it's important, as part of our duty, to share with you the richness of our culture. Because if Mexico is powerful in something, it's powerful in culture. Perhaps nothing else, but in culture, yes. So, muchas gracias por estar con nosotros. Disfruten. There's some Mexican food. There's wine. Please stay, take a look, ask questions. Welcome. Muchas gracias. Bienvenidos.
Hi, it's Michael, and I'm here with one of the creators of this altar here at the Mexican office. And who are you?
Hello, my name is Lani, Lani Aviña, and as Michael mentioned, I was part of the team who developed this nice altar or ofrenda of Day of the Dead.
And we were learning that this year the altar is dedicated to
Jane Goodall. As you can see, the picture that is in the upper part of the altar.
Right.
As you may know, she was a researcher who studied chimpanzees in Tanzania. So, in the lower picture, you can see a chimpanzee. His name was David Grayberg, and was the first chimpanzee that accepted her in the reservation to be working with her. And he was the first that was identified as being using tools, just like we humans use tools to do things.
Okay.
He was the first one that was reported to use tools, and was a very important part of her research. That's why he also is there, and also because she loved him very much. And the main purpose of an ofrenda or of an altar is to place the favorite things of the person that you are inviting, by placing the picture that you are inviting to come on November 2nd to visit.
Okay.
Yes.
And this is the hairless dog that we learned about, that the director told us about, the famous dog.
Oh yeah, you can see next to the candle here, there is a dog, and characteristically in Mexico, there's small, well, not so small, but the main characteristics is that the dogs don't have hair. They are hairless dogs, and they are in charge of helping the people who go to the afterlife to cross the first river that is part of the road that they continue walking when they...
To the afterlife?
Yes,
now,
yes.
How long did this take you to put together?
Okay, we worked for an entire Saturday and Sunday, 2 days.
2 days?
Yes.
Wow. And this is now in the Mexican trade office, but we did it before in Taichung.
In Taichung, in Taipei City Hall, in Takashimaya. Yes, we have done several.
So all of this beautiful work is Lani and her husband
Rudolph Pearson,
who can't be with us tonight, but he created all of this together.
Yes, but like the square here and all the decoration. If you see that something is symmetrical or beautiful, is because his perfect eye places it in the best position.
Well, congratulations! It's wonderful.
Thank you.
And we look forward. We saw you 2 years ago, and we look forward to seeing what you come up with next year.
Thank you. And if I can just mention, you can see that there are a lot of fruits and vegetables.
Yes.
You can see chicken or beef or something. And the reason is because she was a strict vegetarian.
Oh.
That's why you only see fruits and vegetables and green food. And also in that area, you can see the binoculars that she used theoretically to study the chimpanzees, and her notebook to take the notes, and her favorite shoes. And also, you can see in this part, there is a lady holding a monkey.
Yes.
So she's everything. You can see also the monkeys that are in the wall. They are chimpanzees, and they have the decoration in their faces, just like the Day of the Dead decoration.
So
Katrina.
you've tied it all together.
Yes.
It's a wonderful display. Every year it's something beautiful. So
Thank you
again,
so much.
congratulations.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you next year.
Hopefully.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Go. Hi, it's Michael, and I'm back with the director of the Mexican Trade Office here in Taipei City, Taiwan, Senor Torres, who we've met many times. And again, this is one of the creators of the altar behind us, Miss Lani. And again, Senor Torres, wonderful event here at the Trade Office. And
Thank you.
We were in Taichung together last year. You had the Imaji Square. So you were talking about sometimes it's here, sometimes it's in other places, and that it will continue on.
It should continue. Hopefully, our successors will continue with the tradition. I think there's no reason why it shouldn't.
No.
In fact, they had it before I came, and it will continue to be here. So I don't know if it'll be as good, because I don't know. As long as Lani's here,
Yeah,
to
as long as
operate,
Lani's here.
it will be as good.
All the
Otherwise,
people,
I don't predict much better results. But so far,
No. And that's what I was saying to Selena, your wife. You walk in, I'm speechless. You know, and I grew up in Mexico. I know what it looks like, but you two are very talented. So again, a wonderful occasion. This is open to the public for a week or so?
No more. It's going to be until the 24th of November.
November, okay.
And it'll be opened for business hours, so meaning we open the office at 9 o'clock, so
Okay.
from 9 to 11, and then again from 3 to 4.
Okay.
And in case there is interest of a group, or we usually have schools coming from elementary all the way to graduate school. If they want to schedule anything, they can
We can
just
do that as well.
contact us, and then we prepare it.
Okay, so I'll put this on YouTube as soon as I can. So again, congratulations, wonderful event.
Thank you.
And Feliz Dia de los Muertos. Happy Day of the Dead, and we will see you on the next episode.